Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we're tackling the ultimate problem-solving challenge for you pragmatic SME owners out there. If you run a business, you already know the drill. When a massive corporation hits a snag, they just throw money at it. They'll hire pricey consultants, build brand new assembly lines, test 3 different prototypes all at once. It's easy, right? But what happens when you're operating on a seriously tight budget? Well, this analysis, which comes straight from Ali Chow-Sholo's comprehensive guide, is going to show you exactly how to substitute actual capital with structured, innovative thinking. So get ready, because we are about to completely rewire how you approach industrial problems. I mean, this is literally the million-dollar question, isn't it? How on earth do you solve complex industrial problems when you have absolutely zero budget? I want to hook your attention right out of the gate here, because I promise you, this explainer is not some theoretical lecture designed for academic halls. No way. This is a highly practical, roll-up-your-sleeves kind of toolkit designed for the gritty, everyday reality of SMEs. We're going to see how having no budget isn't a dead end at all. Actually, it's the exact starting point for a radically different and way more effective kind of problem solving. Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The 5 dilemmas of SMEs. 2. TRIZ, the zero capital method. 3. Solve contradictions, don't compromise. 4. Discovering invisible resources. And 5. Turning solutions into commercial assets. Section 1. The 5 dilemmas of SMEs. Let's start with the reality on the ground. Listen, regardless of your sector, if you're an experienced business owner, you're fighting a daily battle against these 5 brutal, systemic dilemmas. First up, the price squeeze. Your customers are demanding discounts every single year, while your suppliers keep jacking up their prices. It just absolutely melts your profit margins. Second, single customer dependency. This is where the bulk of your revenue comes from just a handful of buyers, which, let's be honest, leaves you incredibly fragile. Third, the total lack of a formal R&D department. This means vital technical knowledge lives entirely in the head of your master craftsman. Basically, you're one retirement party away from a total production crisis. Fourth, severe cash flow constraints. Every brilliant idea gets shelved because the immediate question is always, wait, do we actually have the money for this? And finally, the scale reflex myth. This is that dangerous kind of self-defeating belief that systematic innovation is only for the massive corporations. Now, the universal default for solving problems is, of course, trial and error. And hey, it works, but man, is it expensive. In a giant corporation, 9 failed attempts out of 10 is just a standard line item in the R&D budget. But for an SME, 2 failed attempts could literally drain your entire investment capacity for the year. It's crazy. The business that can least afford trial and error is exactly the one that needs a systematic method the most. Zero investment, predictable outcomes. I really want you to let this hard-hitting quote sink in for a second. If you can't magically increase your bank balance, you have to change how you approach the problem to get the same effect. A lack of cash is never an excuse to stop innovating. Actually, scratch that. It's the fundamental constraint that absolutely forces you to use better thinking. Structured method becomes your capital. Moving on to Section 2, TRIZ, the zero capital method. This brings us to a seriously revolutionary approach. Developed by Genrich Altschuler after World War II, TRIZ is not some fluffy brainstorming technique. While working in a Soviet Navy patent office and reviewing thousands of global patents, he realized something wild. A brilliant solution found by a mechanical engineer matched the exact logical pattern of a solution found in chemistry years earlier. Innovation actually has predictable patterns. This totally busts the myth that you need a massive R&D budget to innovate. But here's the catch. To use these patterns, we have to fight this hidden trap called psychological inertia. When faced with a problem, we instinctively search for solutions within our own professional past. A mechanical engineer proposes a mechanical fix, right? An accountant just looks at the ledger. In an SME, this is dangerously magnified. 20 years of doing things the exact same way narrows your problem-solving toolkit to just your industry's habits. TRIZ forces you right out of that dangerous comfort zone. Now, what's really interesting here is the ideality equation. It defines perfection not as some shiny new machine, but as a formula. Ideality equals the provided benefit divided by the cost plus the harm. So the ultimate ideal system is one where the function is performed perfectly, but the machine itself doesn't even exist. It's like a complete mindset shift. Instead of asking, okay, what do I need to buy to solve this? You start asking, how can this desired result happen on its own, using what's already here? We are pulling our problem solving strictly into the zero investment zone.
Which brings us to Section 3, solve contradictions, don't compromise. To achieve that ideality we just talked about, we need to completely shift our focus away from how traditional business schools teach us to manage trade-offs. Let's be a little provocative for a second. Compromise is a failure. Yeah, in TRIZ, saying, well, we need to lower costs, so we just have to accept slightly lower quality, is absolutely not a solution. It's just accepting an unsolved problem. A true contradiction looks like this. The packaging must be thick to protect the product, but it must also be thin to keep shipping costs down. We have to demand a solution that requires zero sacrifice on either side. No trade-offs allowed. So how do we actually build these zero-compromise solutions? Well, when you face a physical contradiction, meaning something needs to be both A and not A, you separate them. Let's break down the logic here. Say changing a mold on a machine takes 90 minutes. The machine needs to be stopped to change the mold, obviously, but it needs to be running to make money. We use separation in time. What parts of the mold prep can happen while the machine is still running? Or separation in space. Does the entire mold need to change, or just the specific contact surface while the heavy base stays fixed? Boom! Suddenly, a 90-minute downtime becomes a 10-minute swap. Let's move right into Section 4, discovering invisible resources. This is perhaps the most lucrative tool in the whole TRIZ system for an SME owner, leveraging the assets you already own but completely fail to see. Normally, when you ask business owners what resources they have, they'll rattle off cash, machines, and staff. But this brilliantly illustrates a strict TRIZ definition. A true resource isn't a corporate cash reserve. It's anything in your system that you have already paid for, which is currently sitting unused. If you find a hidden resource, that is a cost you will literally never have to pay out of pocket. We can break these down into 6 types of hidden resources. Material, like scrap or waste. Energy, like waste heat from an oven or even machine vibration. Physical space, which could just be the empty zones in your factory or the unused interior space of your packaging. Time, like the hours a machine sits idle. Information, like 5 years of customer return logs. That's basically free market research right there. And finally, capability. Now, the strict rule here is you have to list everything without judging its immediate usefulness. For instance, waste heat from a chimney. Total nuisance until you realize it can be piped back to preheat your cleaning water, instantly lowering your energy bill. I want to challenge you directly on that last resource we mentioned, capability. Think about your biggest customer for a second. Are they actually buying your specific metal part? Or are they really buying your capability to do high-tolerance, repeatable machining? Because if it's the latter, that capability is a massive hidden resource. It's entirely independent of your current sector. Realizing this is exactly how you break free from that terrifying single customer dependency, and you do it without needing a massive marketing budget. To figure out exactly where your capabilities fit, we use this analytical 9 screens method. It's a simple matrix that perfectly maps out where an industrial problem truly sits. You look at the past, present, and future across 3 levels: the supersystem, your system, and the subsystem. Sometimes a scrap problem seems like it's an issue with your machine, which is the system level, but mapping it out like this reveals the real issue is in the raw material tolerances down at the subsystem level. It stops you from wasting money fixing the wrong thing, and it completely clarifies where your capabilities fit into the broader market's future. And finally, Section 5, turning solutions into commercial assets. Generating these systematic solutions with zero budget is fantastic, but we need to capture their long-term financial value for your business. So the absolute crucial point is this. If your veteran employee solves a complex manufacturing issue through trial and error, that knowledge just lives in their head. The day they retire, that knowledge walks right out the front door. But when you use TRIZ to systematically solve a contradiction, you are forced to document the exact mechanism of the solution. That structured output doesn't just stay in the company, it transforms into protected intellectual property. It becomes a patentable commercial asset sitting right on your balance sheet. You really don't need a massive R&D budget to innovate, you just need a superior method. You've got idle time, wasted energy, unused space, and incredibly deep capabilities right in front of you. So I'm going to leave you with this powerful question. What hidden, patentable assets are currently sitting idle on your factory floor, just waiting for you to look at them through the lens of TRIZ? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy innovating!